Mm. Barber College Success.
I thought that was the beat. That was beatboxing.
Brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cutz Academy, JC, Crown Cutz Academy, Bristol, and now Proficient Academy, downtown Johnson City. On to our third school. Spreading love the Tri-City way is one way, but you know what? The only way to spread love is the Crown Cutz way. And we're going to jump into this. Every time we introduce our co-host and our host with the mostest, y'all battle about who goes first.
Ammi's first.
He can
Ammi's
have
first.
it. Why I gotta be first?
Just go first.
I don't want to now.
All right.
Now I feel like you tell me to
Jordan Barr for Bristol, Tennessee. J Bob on Instagram.
Ammi Fields, am I your barber on Instagram?
Introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Christian Rippey. I'm just Christian Rippey.
Hey, man, don't be shy, man. Don't be shy.
You give me some time.
You warm up.
I haven't been on the podcast in a minute now.
No doubt. Shout out, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna shout out where we are. Our top 5 countries.
Jordan, you remember?
I don't.
What? You got to do your homework, J Bar.
I
We
don't.
only said it like every podcast.
I
at this
know.
point.
Top
But,
5 countries that listen to
United
us.
States, of course.
I know United States, Europe.
Europe is not a country.
Not United. What is it?
Canada,
Canada. Yeah.
United Kingdom.
United Kingdom. Yeah.
Australia,
These are y'all top viewers.
Yeah, Ireland.
Iceland.
Iceland.
Yes.
We're in Ireland though. isn't it?
Yeah. We're
Madagascar.
like 57
Madagascar.
countries.
Yep.
And our favorite country we gonna go there and do a live show. Emma.
To Madagascar.
Yes. I know the barbers down there, they doing it. They got to be doing it. If you're
I'm
a
sure
barber out there
somebody
in
could.
Madagascar, send us a shout. We're going to come down there and do a live show.
One of my favorite
see him.
barbers, I don't even know where he's from, but he just cuts with a razor. It's like Farah is his name or something. I see him on
Straight
Facebook
razor.
all the time. Yeah, you seen that dude?
I seen it. I just be like, what?
With a comb, and he's crazy.
He's fading and everything.
Yeah, combs, done
You
designs.
talking about the one with that does the knife?
No, he got the comb. He got the straight razor.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a
That's
knife.
somebody doing something. Barbering is so much love, so much love. So today I went and spoke to like a group of homeschools, which was so dope. They were all. It's about like 18 of them, and I didn't realize that that's a sector of people too who are looking for careers. So when the lady called me and said, "Come and talk to these homeschools," I was like, "Okay, it makes so much sense," and it was so dope. And all the kids were like asking plenty of questions. They were so into it.
Yeah.
And it's just an opportunity. And sometimes we don't realize there's a sector of people who are looking for careers right now because you're graduating. Right. It's the graduation season. So if you know someone who's in the mix of looking for a career, recommend the cosmetology field.
I do that every day.
Yeah, me too.
Literally.
Yeah.
And tons of people are like, yeah, I want to do it, but I don't want to mess people up.
And I'm
Every
like,
time.
same
I
thing.
think I said the same thing when I first decided.
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
People say it all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, I really didn't really mess.
but until you become a barber, you don't realize you don't put so much stock into the own service on yourself. Because a lot of guys who are real picky, when they become barbers, they're not as picky no more.
Exactly, because they see what they see, they understand. It's like when you got them picky people that come in, they don't really understand. So if they was to get into the barbering industry, they'll be like, oh.
Because if you was ever a picky,
I was doing that. Ooh.
And then when somebody do it to you now,
Yeah, exactly.
you like, yo, come on, yo, fall back.
I be like, I'm gonna just put an extra 5 on it every time. That's
Was you a
what I do.
picky?
No, I was never picky. I should have been picky. Maybe I have a hairline right now. That's why I got this. I should have been picky.
Wow. But today we got a dope episode. We're going back and talking about student stories. We're going to talk about the importance of just so much. When you finish with school, take your test. That's one of the things we're going to talk about.
Please take your test.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Chris. So introduce yourself. Talk about where you're from, how you got into this industry.
I'm a little nervous. Like I said, I haven't done a podcast in a long time.
It's all good,
I'm really
right?
good.
It's just a conversation, man.
I think I'm meant to be doing this type of stuff. But
Okay,
okay,
yeah.
My name Christian Rippey. I met Craig, what I would say, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
I started barber school, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
I am still not a licensed barber. I actually went through got all my hours. It took me a good amount of time. Craig was always transparent with me. I signed up for full time, but Craig, life
Life happens.
So I ended up it takes 9 months to finish.
About 10 months, 10 months full time.
It actually took me about 2 years, probably 2.5 years, honestly. And just going through life and just trying to figure things out. I was just had a new baby, just a lot of.
But the thing is, how did you figure out that barbering is something that you want to do, that you love to do?
I did not figure out barber was something that I loved, that I wanted to do, until I actually got into school and actually started meeting people. I honestly jumped right into barbering. I never thought I wanted to cut hair.
So you was looking for a career?
I was just looking for something that a career, something that I could make some money in. And I was just like, I don't want to work the typical 9 to 5. I want to kind of like be able to make my schedule and things like that of that nature. And I just told myself I'm barbering. So I went and I talked to you. I met you.
Right.
You basically convinced me to do it. And we signed up that same day.
Right. So before that, what kind of career path were you on? What were you thinking on doing?
I was young, Craig.
Was you working at the time?
I was working.
Where'd you working at?
Everywhere. I couldn't keep a job.
Yeah.
I was going back and forth, job to job. And I just wanted a career. I didn't want to keep working jobs, just job here, job there. So I had like I said, I had a newborn baby, and I was like, I need to find something that I can have a actual set schedule, and something that I could, have a career, start a career, and I don't.
So you didn't realize this was something that you was gonna love?
Never. I didn't realize that it was more than what it really is. Like when more people look at barbering, they just like, oh, you just cut hair. But it's so much more than cutting hair. It's so much more than cutting hair. So, like I said, I didn't find any of that out until later on. I just went in there thinking about I can make some money and I could have some time, I can set my own schedule. But once I actually got involved and stuff like that, there's so much. It's just so much more.
That's when the love came in.
Exactly.
And that's the importance of this podcast, just to kind of give people a descriptive, because everybody comes from so many different types of background and different types of things that they have going on in their life, and trying to find something that's creative, trying to find their why, trying to find a career path that's going to be able to put them in a position to take care of themselves, their family, and just have fun at it.
Exactly. And it's fun.
And it's fun.
Exactly.
Talk about the memories you had at school. What are some of the memories you had while you were in school?
I loved going to school. It wasn't like a traditional, I never knew. I tried college once, and it never was like when I graduated high school, I was like, I'm never going back to school, just because I spent so many years just school every day,
right.
Wake up, going to school. I was like, I'm not going to college. I told myself that I'm not going to college. I need to find a trade. So when I found out I had to take a class or schooling to be a barber, I was kind of iffy about it. But once I started school, man, it was like work.
Right.
I had fun. We had fun. We came, we socialized. I had a bunch of people I socialized with. We was in the books about 2 hours out the day. Then the rest of the day we cutting, we socializing, we learning. And it was just like, I wasn't really at school, but I was at school. I wasn't learning, but I was learning.
Right.
It's like, I don't know how to explain it.
So did you make a lot of great relationships while you were there?
I made a lot of great relationships. And I got out my comfort zone. Like you said, everybody that starts to cut, they say, oh, I don't want to mess nobody up. I got out my comfort zone real quick. I think about the next week or two, I had all the kinks and stuff out. I wasn't nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I wasn't the greatest or far from it, but I still wasn't nervous to actually start and actually cut someone's hair, because I learned in those 2 weeks that, honestly, barbering is about the hair cutting. But if you can give somebody a experience, they're really not even going to pay much. They're going to pay attention, but they're not really going to pay.
They really just started money at you at the end.
Yeah,
if you sit there and and that's one thing I noticed this the other day, and I've been selling it ever since. I don't know, something clicked, but I've been I'll never forget, we went on this mental health trip with the brother from House of Fades. You remember what was his name?
Yep.
Anyways, he was telling me about, man, this dude give me $60. Wes, brother Wes. He said, man, this dude give me $60 for a ball fade. He said, I'm done in 20 minutes. He's like, shoot, I'll spin a chair a couple times. He's like, he make him feel special. But really, you sit there and you talk to somebody and you have a great conversation, and you showing them as you go through, but y'all just vibing.
Learning each other, talking about
and then at the end of it, he's like, hey, man, how much is it? And you're like, oh, man, it's 30. Sometimes when you're a barber, and it comes down to pay time, you're like, oh, man, it's, you kind of bring it off like, I appreciate appreciate you, but this costs money. And but they just throw it at you like, oh yeah, man, whatever, you go. You know. So
after that conversation, y'all clicking, y'all kicking it off, man.
Yeah.
You could tell them $100. They be like, that's it.
They just hand you the wallet. Yep.
I mean, but you had a lot of times after you give someone a good service, give them a good experience, they'll typically say, oh, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
They feel so good because when you make them feel like they got more than a haircut, that's when people feel real comfortable.
Exactly.
Jordan, hey, you thinking about something?
I was just gonna say that, okay, when you establish that connection between with your clients, it's like after you get done with the cut, you try to give them the mirror. They're like, "Nah, I don't even want it."
Exactly.
I'm like, "All right, bet." But they also trust you. You can make them gain your trust, and after like the first haircut, they typically kind of know that you can cut. Like once they feel comfortable around you, they're not going to be stressing over it.
So before we got on the air, right, we were sitting there talking, and myself, Ammi, and Jordan, and I was sitting there and I was saying, you know what? It typically takes a student about from the time they start school to by the time they really get comfortable, where you start seeing some benefits of your labor, about 2 years, 2.5 years, because that's when you get comfortable. Because a lot of students come to school and they feel discouraged because they don't feel that they getting it right away. Right. And it's at times, as much as the instructors say to them, hey, it's a process, trust it. You in your mind, because you go into barbershops, you seeing barbers cut, you watching all these videos, and you watching all this literature and all this film, and you're like, why am I not getting it?
You're comparing yourself to them, and you don't know the work that they really put behind that and the time that they actually put behind that. So you're trying to like skip the process.
Right. So how long did it take you to really get to that point? You're like, I'm there. Because I remember times in school when you was like, I can't get this.
Honestly, I don't even think I'm there yet. That's how I feel.
Right.
I feel like it's I'm there to other people, but like people tell me now, like when some people ask me the same question, I'm like, I'm not nowhere near there because there's so much more that I can do to better my haircuts. It's always something that you can do.
So, but when did you feel comfortable? When did you feel comfortable? Like
the confidence that something walked in right now. Don't matter what it is, I got it. I
want to say like it took me about a year or two.
After school or during school?
After school.
Right. So that's about the right time. About 2 years from the time you start school, go through that first year of school, and then another about a year and a half. What do you think, Jordan?
It took me to
a week.
Jordan been cutting his whole life. He always wanted to be a barber.
I ain't never cut before school, bro. Ever. Never. I cut my brother's hair one time, and I left every single guideline in his hair, and I thought that junk was clean. I took a video of it, and he had his face.
Confidence come in. That you gotta have confidence.
I mean, yeah, but I was like, but he went to school. That's like, bro, who cut your hair? It's just like my brother. They roasted him. But now that you always gotta have that one person that you start out with. But now that's my little brother. I'm always gonna have him fresh. Now he's the freshest kid in school now. For the free, always.
So it took you about 2 years, about a year and a half out of school as well.
I really started picking it like I say about a year in the barbershop. Yeah.
So we saying that to say this. Don't put pressure on yourself, students out there, because you're gonna beat yourself up trying to grab something that it's not gonna happen. And we've mentioned it so many times on the podcast, and students still beat themselves up.
And the podcast might come across as repetitive, but this podcast is for people that are coming into school or early in their career. And, these are things that, just like a child, like you tell a kid things 1,000 times, but until they have that experience for themselves and realize
they're not going to understand.
They're not going to understand it. You know what I'm saying? And we say this and say this and say it and say it and say it, but eventually it's going to happen to you. You're going to be like, oh, that's what Craig Jordan
years later. Like,
it's going to take you about, so prepare yourself to understand that you're gonna get to a good income, right? Mm-hmm. But you're not gonna get to the income in a week.
No.
And I've seen students get so frustrated. Oh, it's slow at the shop. You've been there a month. It's gonna be slow.
Yeah.
You've been there 2 months. It's gonna be slow.
You gotta build clientele.
You gotta build.
It's a process, man. People don't understand what process means. It's like time that you put in it. It's like it's more than just like. It's a process, so you get what I'm saying. It's like
of course,
it's gonna take
like a lot of
it. Don't
things.
Just happen.
It's steps, so many steps that you follow. It's like an ingredient book or a blueprint. You have to follow this process to get to this where you
What,
going.
what was the most difficult part of your journey during school?
During school,
Yeah.
Consistency, and I feel like you can take that with school and life.
Right.
Consistency is a big part of life. Period. So if you're not consistent in something, you're obviously not going to probably get any better, or you're not like you might get like that's my problem. I'll be consistent for a week or two, and I see the progress and the progression, but then I stop doing it. So then I have to start all over.
Right.
Consistency in what? Like, what is consistency in this? Or what you in school and now? What do you mean by consistent?
When I say consistency, when I'm going to school, is consistently being on time, consistently going to school, like on an everyday basis where I'm not missing any days. Because if you're not there, you're not going to be able to get anything. You're not going to be able to retain anything. You're not going to get any better if you're not there. So,
and you're speaking off. Sorry, Craig. But you're speaking off experience, right?
Experience.
This is you can feel it's from the heart. Like this is
experience.
you just letting people know, like for the real talk, because you've done it.
This is no script. I told you I was in school for almost 3 years because I was not consistent. When I could have knocked it out in 10 months, literally.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's the beauty of this podcast, to let people know, hey, there are a lot of people out there like you. There are a lot of us who are in the same boat.
Right.
And if this is your passion, this is your why, just knock it out. And understand that there are going to be some obstacles. But if it's your passion, your why, all you're doing when you take a long time to get to finish is you delaying your process. And go ahead.
What are some of the differences that you did compared to now, what you're doing now compared to what you did in school? How have you improved in your career? Like, what are some things that you're practicing now that you didn't practice before? Or bad habits that have continued on?
I learned so much in school. Even dealing with Craig, when I came to school, he taught me more. Because there's different parts of barbering. You have the barbering industry where you're doing the cuts and stuff like that, but it's also like a multi-million, billion-dollar industry where business-wise.
Yeah.
So like I learned so much about cutting hair and stuff like that, but I learned more about I fell in love more with the business part of barbering, but I still can also do the cuts and stuff, and it's so much.
The practical part.
The practical part, exactly.
Right.
But
so one of the things that we talked about too is, and we're going to be transparent. This podcast is going to be real transparent. So here now, year 4, and you still haven't gotten your license.
Nope, I'm working on it.
Right.
Like I said, man, life is life.
And life happens, and we talked about that.
Life.
But this is going to help somebody else that too. It's probably going to help motivate you as well too, Chris.
Yeah.
I always tell students, what is the importance you think of if you're taking the tests right when you're finished?
It's fresh on your mind. It's fresh on your mind. You go ahead and get it. You go ahead and get out the way because life happens. You can plan to take it next month, and you just never know what life has for you between that month, and it'll stop you from taking the next month. You might have to take it next year. So it's like when you first get out of school, I advise you to, before you even get out, go set that appointment for that test. Get it out the way while it's fresh on your mind.
Do you think it matters much to be around people who in a studio setting, to have that structure, to be studying and going to school around people? Does that matter much?
I feel like it's all about the person. For me, discipline is something that I struggle with. My self-discipline, because I tell myself I need to do something, but I really sometimes. But for me, it would help me to be in a group of people. For me, studying because I like to have people.
Hold me
accountable, and I can hold other people accountable. That's what I like. That helps me. So yeah, for me, I need that group of people. I need that conversation.
And that's big because I remember Ammi had a conversation with Jordan, and he almost had to threaten Jordan one time. He's like, you're not coming to this podcast no more if you don't take the test. You remember that conversation, Ammi? And
yeah, I mean, I don't.
It wasn't like it wasn't.
No, it's from a place of love,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It's from a place of love, just because like. I think, getting through barber school is an accomplishment, but once you get that license though, like to get that done, and I can speak from experience, like that day I got my test and passed it, you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. I had to drive to Roanoke, which was 2 hours where I live. That 2 hours went by in 15 minutes. But I was so hyped to get back home and be like, yo. And then once you feel that level of accomplishing something.
Right.
It builds a confidence in you that you can go do anything. I remember Kanye West was doing an interview one time, and he was like, and they were interviewing him. He's like, I feel like I could do anything. And he was like, I feel like right now I could quit music and start training for the NBA, and I'll be in the NBA in 2 years.
And that's confidence. And confidence takes you so much, takes you so far. Sure. And the key is, and I know a lot of students out there, a lot of time, is just being nervous. Do you remember that time, Jordan? Were you nervous? Was that one of the reasons you delayed taking the test?
Yeah, it was kind of being nervous, and I was just ready to be in the shop because I was in the shop for a year before I even got my actual test, before I got my license. So it took me a little bit because I had to relearn everything kind of a little bit. I had to go back and study and all that. And I took the test 4 times and I failed 3 times. So, but I didn't study, and I studied that one time, and then that's all it took. Now I passed it.
Does school offer a refresher course? Do y'all have
I mean, we open it up for the students to continuously come back. It's not nothing about, and whenever I see students that haven't taken it, I'm like, yo, come on, let me help you. I always mention to them, hey, let me help you take this test. Come back and get some paperwork. Come back and get some practice tests.
When I see you in public.
If he get that test,
ducking aisles.
I don't do it. I go talk to him because I know he gonna give me some words of encouragement to make me actually want to go take that test.
I mean, because it's important, and I know what you feel, but I know a lot of times it's just the anxiety of, because there's several people who just don't know how to study.
Right, that's me.
And if you don't know how to study, it gives you more anxiety. But always ask for help. There's ways. Ask for help. And I would recommend anybody in a situation having some anxiety to get the blueprint by Mr. State Board. The blueprint is going to help you study, and it breaks it down in simple terms.
I got the blueprint. I really like the blueprint. I actually almost done with it.
That's good.
Almost done with it.
And a lot of times people don't realize with PSI, it tells you exactly what to study. You don't have to study the whole textbook. It tells you specifically exactly what to study. And studying sometimes, if you don't know how to study, we did a podcast on how to study. So go back to that and check it out. But as simple as asking for help. Ask the instructors or ask a student who were real good with grades, a test taken, what are their techniques, what are their strategies to study? But the best thing to do while you're in barber school is to pace yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. I mean, there's a lot to learn. You're not going to learn it all being there in school. You're not going to learn it all a year out of school.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot to learn. So
pace yourself.
Yeah. I mean, there's no point. I mean, there's no valedictorians in barbering. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're all headed the same direction. Right. As long as you get the information, get past your tests, and continue to try to learn, that is what's important. You're never going to know everything. If you know everything in your book, then you should have went to college and become a brain surgeon, because it's a lot of information to put into you at one time.
And I remember taking a test when I failed it.
Yeah.
And the key is when you fail it that first time, you have anxiety. Mm-hmm. You feel like, man, am I good for this? Am I okay? Am I going to pass this? Am I dumb or something? But it's not. It's okay. There's several people who have taken this test and failed it the first time.
Yeah, and I limped over the finish line. But like I said, once you get it, yeah, and you couldn't tell me nothing. You still
gonna act like you gonna feel like you never even struggled at all.
It don't
even matter.
Yeah, it's like taking handcuffs off, man. It's like you was just like almost free. Like it's free. Like a sense of freedom. You're your own boss. Like you could drop me off anywhere, and I'm gonna make it happen at that point.
So, what's the importance you think, Jordan, of taking it right when you finish?
It'd be so much easier, and it's gonna be fresh in your mind, like he said. And when I got there, I was like, I would get the book. See, this is what I would try to just
avoid it.
I would avoid it, but I would try to try to get a lot of information in a short amount of time. So when I get there, I pull the book out, and I'm like, I'm all right. What I think I'm not. I'll try to like go through the stuff that I don't know real quick on the book, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna read this page real quick before I go in, and that should be fresh in my mind. It actually made it worse.
It does.
So yeah, because you don't remember it because it's such a short. Try to stuff all your head, like everything in your mind, like in a short amount of time.
That's why I'm like, pace yourself, because you have 10 months to finish this whole book. Some people have photographic memory where they can just read information and grasp it.
Not me.
Nope.
But that's dangerous too, because you grasping that just to remember, not to retain it.
All right.
And you want to be able to retain the information, because the information is information that you're going to use to your consultation. Information is information you're going to use to teach you how to sell product.
Right.
Information is information you're going to use to be knowledgeable about your craft and everything that you're doing. Because when you're knowledgeable about the craft and you're given great information, true information, that's where your income starts rising.
Yeah.
That's where you can say, spin the chair and just tell them the price and there's no obligations of what they have to pay you. Because you sound knowledgeable about your craft and you're talking about the industry truthfully.
Yeah, the other day I had a dude in my chair, and he was a doctor. I mean, medical doctor, and he's like, "Yo, man, my hair is always so greasy." And I hit him with the, you washing your hair too much. Do you have a shampoo, conditioner separate? And he's like, "Yeah."
What temperature you washing your water in?
Yeah, no, and I hit him with all that, and he's like asking me questions. Oh, I didn't know that. Blah 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 blah. But and he respects the profession because
he kind of does the same thing.
Yeah, he does the same thing.
If you had some shampoo right next to you, could have sold it to him.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's what you do, especially men, because men be using 3-in-1, head and shoulders, body, butt, all that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But that's the point of, shampoo sales is one of the highest sales, extra service sales out there.
Yeah,
conditioning.
People are making great money.
Yeah.
And understanding, letting people know what conditioner do to your hair.
Right.
What does conditioner do to your hair? And how does it make it feel? A lot of people don't even know the difference between conditioner and shampoo. Mm-hmm. So if you could break that down and let a client know what it's for, what you're doing, next level. You could have them even do a self-test and feel the hair after the conditioner.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, my hair feels so good.
One thing I do know is after I get done cutting, it could be any dude and his son, or he don't know what to do with his son's hair. He don't know what to do with his hair, like conditioner-wise. Like they always ask me, like, what do you use? What do you recommend? So, like, if I had my service, like these different products right here, I can literally sell those to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally.
That's an easy come up.
Every client that I have asked me, like, even if it was products like after the cut, you want to put the grease in their hair or the oil sheen or anything like that, they just like.
But that's why I don't like the. So in the state of Tennessee, most schools most states they'll let you come to school after 750 hours and go on an apprenticeship. The only thing I don't like about that is a lot of students get comfortable and it's hard for them to take the test once you start cutting. That's what, and like you said, it took you a year and then it's taking you some time. Once you get comfortable in that cutting mode, you just feel like you're there.
And the time slips away from you. You're waking up grinding.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you good. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, you here, man. You guess. That's what you have to say.
I just feel like it's like driving without a driver's license. If you never got that driver's license, you swear you don't need that driver's license.
Yeah.
Until you get pulled over.
But
that's the truth.
When you get pulled over, the fines compound.
Exactly.
It's more and more.
It's the same thing.
See, I got lucky because the day that the state board person came in, I'd actually just left to go to Cosmoprof.
But that's not a good
when
look.
I didn't have it. Yeah, I know.
That's not a good look.
But he didn't.
Jonathan said, "Shoo."
Jonathan wasn't there either. So it was just him. So he was like, he didn't ask about it, but he said, obviously next time.
Because your apprenticeship do run, and you have a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Because when your hours is done, you got to go and take that test.
Yeah. So I got lucky twice.
It's important.
Because the things that could happen when you don't have your license, you cutting, the shop owner is liable for that fee.
Exactly.
And that fee is, like we had a student, and it's $1,000.
That's for the shop owner. It's $2,500 for the barber.
Yeah. And every time, you know what I'm saying, that who wants to pay that fee?
Who got it? If you got it like that.
But it's not even about if you got it. That's something that you shouldn't put the shop owner in perspective of. You shouldn't put him in that position to having to cover your butt like that.
Yeah.
Well,
the shop owner
he better be telling you better go take that.
Yeah, he put himself in that position himself. So
shop owner,
right. But a lot of shop owners
do that. Then
and a lot of shop owners around the country, they're letting you cut because they just see the money coming in.
So yeah, they're gonna be paying some taxes.
They see the money coming in, and it's like, okay. But
there we go. If you got somebody illegal, you say I need $1,000 off the top just in case the state board come in here.
but how many barbers starting out can do that?
No,
if you build the clientele.
No, you can't.
So the cons of it is
a lot. Who wants to do all that?
Who wants to do all that? But then also, you can't even give yourself a raise because as we talked about, all those people who you're cutting when you don't have your license, the minute you go up, what are they gonna say?
He don't have a license. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Even if you're doing the same type of cut, because they just don't respect you.
They devalue you.
They devalue. They respect you to the point where they'll tell you, man, you cutting better than what's his name. You know why they saying that? Because your haircut is $10.
Yeah.
Not that it is, and not that it isn't a better cut.
Yeah, but
people will say that to you. Oh, man, your cut is nice. Man, they charge me $30, $40 down the street. Man, you cutting better than them. I'm like, be real, man. Just by the time you say, hey, I got my license, I'm up to $30, $40. You know what they're gonna say? Man, you cutting out your house, man. And they're gonna nitpick you and everything. So so from the rip, it doesn't even benefit you to start off like that.
Yeah. And I'm just happy to we can come on here and like talk for real.
And just be transparent.
We all talking out of experience. Like this is not we ain't hitting nobody over the head or nothing. Like everything that we talk about on here, we've all done it. You know what I'm saying? We had to push Jordan. Jordan went a whole year. You know what I'm saying? This is just come from a place of love, like to make everybody better. And because there's plenty of room for everybody, we can all get to the money.
Exactly.
We can all and just add value to this. We can just, you know what I'm saying? So we just here to support y'all. If you're listening and and you've kind of put it off and you have some of the same anxieties that these dudes had.
Listen, the longer that you wait, the more anxiety, because there's a time limit. It's not like I can take the test and wait 10 years. I mean, I can go to school and wait 10 years to take the test. Like you put 4 or 5 years into the barbering industry, and then you next thing you look up, you got to go to school all over again.
And again, like you said, the more comfortable you get, the more you're like, what do I need a driver's license for? I've been driving.
Yeah. And that test changed every year. Every time I turn around, and we was doing the instructor thing probably for a year and a half, and that test changed like 2 or 3 times, just in the time that I was there in that year and a half.
Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest lessons you have learned, Chris, since you've been doing this?
So look, are we talking about like school-wise?
Just school and just growing into it.
You can talk about it in the shop. You can talk about the shop too.
But it's both. You know what I'm saying? Because you're on both perspectives. We're just trying to be transparent.
Could you ask the question again?
What's some of the biggest lessons you've learned from your barber journey?
One of the biggest lessons I've learned. I mean, it's gonna sound repetitive, but it's really important. It's just consistency and
that test.
Yeah, just like, I mean, it's gonna sound competitive, but that's the truth. Like,
no, it is.
And that taught me, and that's you can take that from life and school. Like, you can't get nowhere if you're not going nowhere. You're gonna stay at one place if you're not being consistent and keep on progressing. So that's a big lesson for me. Consistency, discipline. That's a big lesson for me.
And there's a lot of barbers out there who probably just call them rogue barbers, cut without your license. There are a lot of barbers out there like that. And it makes you feel so much more better. You feel so good when you're like, man, I achieved something. And you're going to do it. You're going to do it, Chris. I know you are.
You better leave here and do it, right?
I promise. I talked to you, yesterday?
Yeah.
And I told you, I was like, man, I've been discouraged. Because I'll get this big, I'll get so happy. I'm studying. Then life kind of hits me. Instead of me studying, the thing that I would do, I would go ahead and book the test. Just go ahead and book it. I mean, I know it's $75. Ask Craig. He'll get Craig gave it to me. Ask Craig. But no, it's $75. So I'll go ahead and book it and then take it. Because if I study and then I never went in actually booked the test. So I would say just go ahead and go book that test, man.
And put some pressure on yourself.
Yeah, put some pressure on yourself. Exactly.
Because when you book the test, you know you have to take it or you're going to lose that 75.
Exactly. So you're studying more.
Right. So I would advise people to give themselves, let's say, a month out.
Yeah.
And as long as you've been in school for about a year, give yourself a month. If you need it, give yourself 2 months out and study, pace yourself. Because you have to go in that incubator. You almost have to shut everything out to study with no disturbances to kind of to retain something. And that blueprint helps.
Blueprint definitely helps.
And study that PSI packet, and it breaks it down in sections. And it'll tell you 5% of the test is this, 10% of the test is that. It's 105 questions, 110 questions around there.
Has every state used PSI? Is that the standard for every barber state?
I think majority of states use that. Yep.
And Milady, everybody read Milady.
I know some people use Pivot Point.
I go online sometimes. I just take random tests sometimes. Just random barber tests.
Like Quizlet or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. I just take randoms and it might be 20 questions and I won't stop taking that same test until I don't get one wrong.
Right.
I do stuff like that also.
So what was the most difficult part of this journey for you, Jordan, from that time when you got through school and knowing that you have to take this test? What were some things that you were stressing about, just beating yourself up about?
It was the test. That's getting it done. Because if I didn't, because every time I came in, like every couple of weeks, Jonathan would be like, "Hey, yo, did you get that? You get that schedule? You test schedule?" And I'm like, "Nah, I still ain't got it scheduled." And he's like, "Bruh, come on, like you got to get it done." Like, because if a state board person comes in, and I get fined, like I'm probably gonna have to let you go. And I was like, all right, I gotta. I'm like, all right, I gotta get it done. So I just like, so I forced myself, and I took the time and studied, bro. That's all it was. I had to take that step to study.
Was that extra pressure when MI said something to you, or did it put some fire under you? Or you just like
it was.
No, he let it go through in one ear, out the other. I'm just talking to his neck.
No, I took it to heart because I knew y'all wanted me to pass. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get it done.
It didn't phase him because I told him like 6 months before that too, so it didn't matter. Him and Kobe.
I got it done. Kobe was waiting on me. That's the reason why.
Do you feel, for both you guys, do you feel like you're letting someone down? Like you say, you probably like, it's hard to see someone because you know that's the first question that's going to come up.
Yes. I mean, and I not only you, my kid, like, cause I went to school for my kids. Like, I feel like I'm like letting them down. I'm letting you down. I'm letting myself down. I'm letting my clients down because without that test, I cannot go to the next level. So it's just like holding myself down.
No, I feel the same way. So, I mean, it's like, cause all the time that I put in and within that year would have been for nothing if I didn't pass that test. So, because I have such a love for cutting hair and this industry, it's kind of stupid for me not to take that test serious. Because I mean, I couldn't see myself doing anything else but this. So I feel like I should have really even already had it like as soon as I got out of school. But
I don't know if it's where I did the apprenticeship, but I couldn't wait. I was like, oh man,
you ready to get it done?
Oh yeah, man.
I don't know.
The apprenticeship was like, it was like prison, man. It was like it was like 2 years long. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't move without permission.
On a schedule.
Oh man, at a work, I had the dude that was doing my apprenticeship was like, I'm gonna leave this shop. I'm like, yo, he told me it's gonna be easy, man. You talking about leaving the shop? Like, I'm trying to get this done, and then he's talking about trying to quit, and I'm like, I'm under your license, and it was a mess, man. I couldn't wait to be free. I could not wait to be. As soon as I got that, man, it's like I took chains off of me, man, and like it's the day I booked it.
Let me ask you another question. Do you think it's harder to when you're going through that stage? And there's probably some barbers who've probably been in the game 5, 10, 15 years, are probably just not licensed. Who just like, man, I've been there long enough. And then it's even harder then.
Yeah, your heart. Yeah, because you already got clout. I mean, you cutting that long, you know, it's already like implied, like people respect it. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't been called up yet, then there's really no point to go do it because you're going to keep cutting. You've done it for so long.
And the further you are away from studying, the harder it gets.
Yeah, the test change every time.
I feel like the test is so practical, meaning like, how can I explain this? Like, if you've been doing something so long, then you kind of got your own way of doing it, your own way, because that's what people do. We find our own ways to do it to make it easier and stuff like that. So if you go, you're in the shop and you finding your own way to do it, and it's not necessarily saying that's a bad thing to do, but then you go try to take that test, and they have a question similar to something that you already done taught yourself how to do. You're going to go off of what you think is right before you go off with what's really the technical way to do it. And in the barber industry, everything is like from changing your barber side, because you might, they'll ask you a question like, how much water do you need? How much of this do you need? Well, you might do it differently in your shop because you think it's more effective. But if you get that question, you're going to go off of what you're doing. So that's why
do it the right way.
Do it the right way.
And that's why that's why the theory is important, because the theory, in a sense, it teaches you how to raise your income, how to give yourself a raise. Because do you feel it being a barrier to raise your prices if you don't have your license?
For sure.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Why? I'm just asking, just you guys.
I think it's just a sense of professionalism.
Right,
Like it's kind of like you're not gonna let a doctor work on it if you don't have his license, right?
I would just say you devalue.
Some people will, but the mass majority is like, no, like you don't have your license. You like, I mean, that's how I feel.
You feel like they might feel like you're not sanitary or you don't know certain things. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think as a barber, it's hard. It's hard for any barber to raise a price. Like there's that is
Right,
that ultimate,
as it is.
yeah. Because like, and I was thinking about this today. Like you're always like, oh man, look at my area I live in. You could be living in New York City, be like, oh, I live in this borough. This borough ain't really popping like that. Or you devalue yourself, like, oh man, I really don't know how to do this skill. But with all those anxieties that you already have and insecurities as a barber for raising your prices, you tack on, oh, I'm not licensed.
And I'm not licensed.
Yeah, that's it. It is already hard as a licensed barber to do all those things. So then you add that extra, which is really a big thing if you look at it. I mean, that makes it even harder. It's just another layer that you're adding on to that pressure because every barber wants to go up. We all feel like we're worth more. Like I know Jordan just went up. I know Jordan still feels like he's worth more.
I feel like he worth more.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how much you charge, but I think all of us
for free. By the way,
I mean, and this area. You say what? You say you do it for free?
I'm not licensed.
Oh, that's right. You get donations.
Donations.
Well, like I said though, but like in this area, like we feel we're kind of catching up to the times because people or other areas are charging $40, $50, $60, and we're trying to catch that. We're getting closer.
100.
Yeah, some are charging 100, some are charging 2,500. We had a brother on the podcast the other day. They doing everybody cutting celebrities, and over there. So they charge them like 2,500 to cut. So it's like, the sky's the limit. But you could get there, but you got to get that first hurdle.
One thing about the barber industry, the sky is the limit. Like you can make whatever you want to do, how much ever you want to make. It all depends on like.
But think about things that you might just cut yourself off from. Say, for instance, NBC or a major network say we want to hire you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The first thing they're gonna ask you is for, hey,
you licensed?
I don't necessarily know about that because I've seen a brother the other day who was unlicensed and he was cutting on the set of a movie. So like,
I mean, but he probably had
he got put on, but at the same time,
he probably knew somebody had to be.
Yeah, he got put on, but I mean, he was still there. I mean, I'm not trying to devalue the conversation,
but that's an anomaly. Though. That's an anomaly.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean, but. He had some type of background, something with somewhere, some type of something to be able to do that.
For the mass majority, that's not going on most of the time.
Yeah, because for somebody to even say you on the set, you might have to have some type of insurance, and the insurance would ask you for your qualifications.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So if you don't have the qualifications, why would they insure you for a set?
You get any liability insurance.
You know what I mean?
I respect that.
I've always wondered how they would even people get to do that.
Remember we had that guy, Will. We're going to bring him on and we're going to talk about it.
I feel like that's more of like who you know, networking.
It's definitely a networking thing.
But that's a big thing in barbering. Like I've networked with so many people just off cutting hair. I've met so many people that put me in position to do so many different things just because I cut hair.
Well, and then also, I mean, you can put yourself out there to maybe you can message a network and send some of your work there.
Right.
And nobody really have a conversation about that.
But then if you don't have your license, you feel some type of, because if some.
No, I'm not messaging nobody.
For instance, right? Like
I ain't got my license. Like, hey, I'm trying to.
But think about, right? All these people, like a lot of people in politics, they'll have like a false narrative, a false resume. And then when somebody who's doing research, they start calling you out.
They doing research.
You know how crazy that makes you feel?
Look like you're a liar.
Look like some of the coaches who said they coached here and done that. And there's somebody who's doing the research now.
Yeah.
Who's willing to be like, he
ain't go to Harvard.
No, he didn't do this. Imagine how that would make you feel. Like you have to backtrack.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like a liar.
All these years of people believing in you, and now there's no trace of you doing nothing.
I'm about to message Marvel when we get done.
Are you talking about me right now?
No.
See my cuts on Guardians of Galaxy 6.
I just playing.
No, but I'm saying this is the transparency. This what this is for.
I think about that every day. I'm just like I said, how many years is it before you can, you want to get into that? Because that'll make.
I want you to do the research for yourself. Because I don't want to.
They'll make me like.
How long has it been since you graduated?
That long, huh? But check this out. There's a lot of people out there like that. For instance, right, when we did the hair show at the school in Knoxville,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a student battle. But they had barbers who've been cutting for 15, 20 years who competed against students at the battle.
I heard about that.
And then they had
seniors. They call them super seniors.
Yeah.
I'm like, how would you even feel comfortable competing in the student battle? You've been cutting in the shop for 10, 15 years.
And then he gas that you winning.
And you feel happy that you won.
Yeah.
Beat a student who's been cutting for like 2 weeks.
We had some people in there, bro. I was on that stage. This dude did a whole fade and a beard in 10 minutes. I was like, what? I was like, what the? And that joke was clean. I was like, bro, what? That's crazy. That's
but
wild.
This was supposed to be a student battle. And they had barbers who, when I found, I was disappointed.
That's sad.
That makes me sad.
I'm like, this is a student battle. Y'all
That's actually funny. I would have laughed. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, but that's like LeBron.
They cooked them too.
Yeah.
Got cooked.
Yeah, LeBron showed up at the high school. And then you see the meme where the dude spraying the champagne on everybody like this, like,
Swole, just big.
They did find somebody.
Jordan,
they did have this kid who went back to high school and gave the wrong thing, and he was like 22.
He was like 28.
And he was playing in high school,
27.
and he was giving them the business.
They did that the other day. It was one of the coaches. It was a girls' team. The coach, they didn't have enough girls, so the coach dressed up like a kid. Could you imagine being a kid on that team? Like, how would you feel about like that? Like,
do you think that's equivalent?
I mean, I would say so.
Without having your license?
I mean, yeah.
In that situation, yeah.
That's not fair.
In that situation, like that environment where you got kids, like, you know, they've been grinding, driving, and then you got all that experience, and you come over there and you just like step on them, like stomp them, and you know for sure in your heart that you've been doing this for 20 years, probably longer than they've been born.
There's no way you take that. There's no way you take that trait with like dignity. Like being proud of it.
But some people do until you bust them out. So that's the importance of just going to get it while it's fresh in your mind.
Factual. Because
those things can come up. When they come up, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Lane Jordan.
You know what I mean? So
nowhere to be
found. So that's why I'm like, with the apprenticeship, I know some people get real comfortable, but get this test because you can easily get like lured into this thing where you're like, oh man, I don't need it. And then you cutting dirty.
Yeah, I see people sit on an apprenticeship for years.
Trying to catch me cutting dirty.
But again, this is great, and I'm happy you came, Chris. There ain't nothing to knock you in.
I already know.
This is important again to teach someone, let someone know that hey,
right is right.
Pace yourself. And when we say there's no dead time in school, there shouldn't be no dead time in school. Because some people and students worry about everything else. What is not going right about the school? What is this and that? And in everybody else's business, but not really worried about themselves taking this test.
Do you do that at your schools? Do you like give people like a set amount of time that they can be there?
I mean, you have 1,650 hours to knock out 1,500 hours. But there's things where people take leave of absences. Things happen.
So if you're being like, if we're communicating, I'll let you know, like, hey man, I'm probably gonna have to miss. I'm not gonna be on track to do. You're lenient.
I mean, of course, everybody is, but that's where the communication comes in.
Well, everybody's not.
That's why there's something called like a leave of absence. Things happen. People have like mental health days.
Right.
People have kids.
Right.
People have deaths, and people get married.
But there's no excuse.
People sometimes they are commuting 2 hours away. Their car might be breakdown. Like this one student, he had a hurricane. Not a hurricane. He had a flood, and he was driving an hour and a half away.
You talking about Bo?
Yeah. Hey. So he had to take some time, and he really didn't take much time off.
He missed like a week maybe, and that's because his whole house got flooded.
Yeah, it still came back.
So you know what I'm saying? It all depends how you want it.
Right.
Because you understand that, man, if I don't deal with it now, I'm going to have to deal with it later. And the longer I delay this process, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah.
The harder it's going to be because I'm just putting myself behind. Because realistically, you want to raise your prices. You want to give yourself a raise, and you're like, man.
And you want to promote yourself.
And especially if people know that about you, the harder it is. I mean, you have a group of people, your friends, and they'll refer people to you. But then that network of trying to grow and increase your clientele, it taps out sometimes.
I work with at a shop, and this dude to this day he still has 3 apprentices, and none of them got their license, and they're trapped there. Like they're almost like slaves to the place. And part of me makes me feel like he prefers that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got clientele. They can't go nowhere else.
And as a student and as an apprentice and a student, you like that because it glazes you up. You're like, I'm in the shop.
Yeah,
I'm making a little bit of money.
Yeah,
but it kind of like gives them like a taste of a whole feast.
Right,
they can have like a whole buffet, and you just get like a taste because you don't know the buffet is there.
Mm-hmm. So then your growth gets stunted.
And then you just get comfortable, and then that's just that's what you do.
And that's the worst thing to do in the barber industry is to get comfortable. Yeah. If you feel like you know it all, when you're cutting hair and stuff like that, I advise you to step outside of your comfort zone because there's so much more that you can tap into than what you think you know. That's one thing I love about barbering. I don't think no one's going to ever know everything. No one's going to ever. It's not a cap on the amount of money that you can make in the barber industry. There's no cap.
Well, there's new trends. Trends come in all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, the industry changes continuously.
Well, I thought $100 was the pinnacle, and then Craig Skills in here talking about they doing $2,500 haircuts.
Exactly.
$2,500 haircuts.
Sheesh.
And they ain't really anything crazy.
No,
it'd just be regular haircut.
Be like a scissor cut.
Yeah.
Inch guard on the sides.
But that's down there. You up there in LA. You up there like you cutting a top-notch celebrity. You cutting someone on a movie set. You know
they give somebody hope. Like the first black president, you might have people like, oh man, I can do that. Yeah. So you giving me hope. Somebody said they made $2,500 for it. I
mean, $2,500 cut. I'm flying out. I'm gonna be back. I'm going to LA for the week, babe. I'll be back. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
come back.
Might not come back. I'm probably move down there.
I'll see you. You don't like it? We can divorce.
Well, think about it. What did Steve Harvey say he paid his barber?
He said he made $100,000. It was like $100,000 a year. He was what he made.
Something like that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and Steve Harvey got a bald head.
Messi's barber makes like $16,000 a haircut.
That's crazy.
But he's probably
that still blows my mind.
He's probably with him at all times.
Is. I know, but nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'd be fine with that. What? Yeah. How much is that? How much you said? 13?
16,000
times 12. What
and
is
he's paying for all your
almost 250,000.
That's crazy.
Almost 200, something like 200,000 a year.
Yeah. He
sign me up.
But before we get to that, the important thing we talking about this podcast is the process.
The process.
And pace yourself while you're in school. Exactly. So what advice, knowing what you know now, Jordan and Chris, what advice would you give students starting out?
Take pride in your book. Really actually try to retain the information that you're given. Don't wait to take your test when you leave, or when you graduate school, because I'm telling you right now, it's gonna make it 1,000 times harder, for sure.
I would say don't make excuses for yourself, and that was one thing because you just asked me that question. That is one thing that I learned, like excuses. Like if y'all know Craig, y'all know this thing that he got his excuses are tools of incompetence would build monuments to nothingness, right? So like the person that practices those will be suddenly good at nothing else, and like that like stuck to me because like, and I take that with barbering, life, anything. Like don't make excuses instead of like instead of like looking at a way that you can't do something. Don't worry about why you can't do it. Look for a reason that you can do it. Like everything in life is obstacles. So if you can go around it, go over it, go under it, just don't make excuses. You can get there, you know.
Excuses are the tools of incompetence, which build monuments into nothingness. And a person who practices them will be seldomly good at nothing else.
That's real.
It's crazy how, like with barbering, I can use that. Like I don't make any excuses when it comes to barbering. I always try to figure out something, but when it comes to life, I feel like that's so much harder to do, like, you know what I'm saying, like to put it into action. I don't know why, because I don't know if that's just like the mindset thing, but I don't know.
It's an excuse.
Yeah.
Come on, tell me what it is.
It is an excuse. But I'd hate that I can like, I don't know, bro. Maybe it's just because I have so much confidence and pride in barbering that I can feel like I can do anything and everything. But when it comes in life, it is just like,
and then it's different circumstances too, because you don't have no kids yet. You know what I mean? So you could kind of like, all you have to think about now is just shop,
designer clothes,
and home.
Jewelry.
But when you have
flashy over there.
When you have kids, those excuses just can't be because you have someone depending on you. So if you know you have to, like you see, you like to get to the shop by 10. So if you have a newborn right now, to get to the shop by 10, you have to get up like at 6 because you might take that newborn to daycare. And the daycare, you got to be there by 8.
You got to pack the diaper bag.
You got to pack.
You got to get the baby's clothes ready.
So then the responsibility shifted and changes where you can't make excuses. Sometimes life will put you in a position where you can't make excuses. You know what I mean? Because if you know you're late for dropping the kid off, then that's going to be a fine on you. If you're late to picking the kids up, they're going to charge you. And that's real. Some daycares, they're like, nah, we ain't playing that. You got to be here at 4 o'clock. You picking the kid up at 4.
Factual.
Because if they open at 8 and you come at 8:30, 9:30 when they're already in their normal rotation where they have things set up where kids come at 8, we put them in this block, we put them in that block. You come at 9:30, you throw all that off. And when you throw all that off, they're going to look at you like, yo, we don't, well, you have to watch your kid at your home. And you like, man, I have to find a daycare because I got to go to work. So now sometimes life kind of forces you to not make excuses. You know what I mean? Because like,
I wouldn't put so much pressure on yourself, Jordan.
No.
Because you're doing good.
But, you know what I mean? So them things, those happen. So it's better to start preparing and coming up with some type of schedule, some type of discipline. So when it happens, because like you said, we don't know what could happen in life. Things happen where our car break down and now we have to adjust. So when our car break down, you say you got to be there at 10, you don't have a whip. So you got to be there. You got to wake up at 8 o'clock, try to find a way to work. So life forces you to make decisions sometimes that you're not prepared for. But through some structure and through some discipline, you can adjust and pivot. It's easier to pivot when you have structure and discipline.
Consistent people are willing to work with you, give you some wiggle room too.
Right. Because I mean, like sometimes I know me, you talk about it all the time. I'm like, Ammi, man, I'm sorry. I know you have a whole family I deal with and you got to put them in place and make that happen to even come to the podcast. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like you said, Craig, man, I can't make it today. Because those decisions happen and things happen that you just can't control.
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
Sometimes you just got to make it happen. You just got to.
Right.
I mean, you don't even think about it. You just make it happen.
And that's where the thing come in. Man, I'm going to go around it. I'm going to go under it. I'm going to go above it. I got to get it done.
Exactly. You just got to look at everything as an obstacle. That's what I do. Anything that happens to me and that helps with my life. Like if it happens to me, I'm just like, man, yeah, it happened. Now, what can I do to fix it? I'm not looking at like the problem. I'm looking like, what can I do to get around this? What can I do to fix it? If I can't do nothing to fix it, then I'm not going to worry about it. That's just something that you can't do. You just got to.
So here we are right now. We talked about this being transparency on this episode about taking this test, not waiting too long. So what kind of advice can we give people? Because some people, they want to know what to do, how to get it done.
I think Jordan needs a kid to really take him to the next level.
No, you can't throw that out there like that. People listening to you, Ammi.
I'm sorry.
See,
I'm talking about Jordan.
Am I?
I'm talking about Jordan.
Man.
Just take him to the next level.
Get out. You got to get outside your comfort zone. That's really it.
No, I'm not gonna say just get a kid. Now, don't just get a kid just because.
You're gonna be very uncomfortable.
He got a system down packed because he got some kids that he got to take care of.
I got 5 kids, y'all,
and he make it happen.
He had the marks.
Got 5 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
I got 2, and I said no more. No more.
We went till we couldn't do no more. Till the oven was broke.
Mitch over there, he laughing.
It's Mitch laughing.
The oven was broke.
He broke the oven.
Oven broke. We ain't baking no more bread.
Nothing's happened.
No.
Cease fire.
You just make it happen. And I joke about the kid thing, but like as far as no excuses goes, like I mean, when I had a kid, it's like, okay, ain't no excuses. Got to happen. We got to make something happen.
Right, you can't tell your kid, "Oh, I got tired." Yeah. They don't want to hear that.
Sorry, we can't eat today. Daddy didn't go cut hair.
What? Yeah, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. So you can't make my kids help me out. Though, no lie. When I look at my kids, it just pushes me to do more and more and more, do better. I know I can't go tell my baby she want this LOL, these roadblocks. I can't just tell her like I can't always. Sometimes I tell her like no because she gets crazy, but.
I be saying no
every time I just can't be like, oh, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it.
So what are the steps now? You took the test, and what are the steps now you're doing to take that test, Chris? Talk about that. How are you helping yourself prepare yourself, and when are you going to take this test?
Okay, so for me,
what are the steps?
Because I'm so different from everybody else. Everybody's different. We all unique in our own different ways.
Right.
My problem, like I said, is consistency and things like that. I am just working on my mental health.
And that's real.
Because like I have a lot of anxiety. Like I have a lot of stuff on my shoulders that I carry by myself. And
that's important. And that's what and that's a transparency people need to hear out there.
Right.
Sometimes anxiety, mental health will hold you back.
Depression. Like I fight depression. I'm not ashamed to tell you I've been getting better. So I'm not afraid to talk about it.
And seek help.
Exactly.
Because it's okay to not be okay.
Exactly.
Don't let nobody put no pressure on you and tell you that you have to have all the answers right away.
Right. The worst thing you can do when you're fighting like something with mental health or depression or anything like that I've learned is to let it, say it, talk about it. Don't keep it in because, I mean, everything's better out than in if you think about it in that.
Right.
So, like I said, I've been working on my mental health, getting rid of like distractions, really focusing on like what I really want in life, thinking about what I really want out of life. So, like I said, I've been in a better place.
That's good.
When I'm in a better place, I work out. I try to eat better. I drink water. It makes like when you start being consistently making better decisions for yourself.
It helps.
Then that helps to do something like that because that's the best decision that I can make instead of being like a renegade barber or anything like that. It would be best for me to go ahead and get licensed. So, all that stuff helps and. Like I try to, like you said, like I plan stuff. Like I plan when I'm gonna study. I tell myself like I got this amount of time to study. I'm gonna study right-handed, and I just do it.
And that's gonna help somebody because somebody out there is going through some type of anxiety, some type of depression.
Yeah.
And you have to understand it's okay to not be okay, and those things are real, and those things are real things in our way that can stop us and hinder us from accomplishing our goals sometimes. But don't beat yourself up. It's okay to not be okay. And seek help. And even if you're afraid to seek help, it's okay. You will come around to the point where it'll get better later. But it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
It is okay to not be okay because mental health is real.
Very real.
Anxiety is real.
Very real.
Depression is real. Suicide is real.
Yeah, you don't want to wait till it get to that point. So, like he said, seek help. Like as soon as you know, because it's not a bad thing. You're not the only person that's going through that. It's like so many people. Everybody, depression and anxiety is kind of different, but in some shape or form, everybody has some type of depression or anxiety somewhere. And it might not be as bad as yours, but some people's are as bad as yours. So
and realize sometimes that could be the thing that's holding you back from taking this test. Speak to an instructor. Speak to someone who you feel comfortable with. Ask for some help. And it's okay to not be okay because that's real. And I think a lot of people, that's what holds them back sometimes. Just the anxiety, just the depression, just the mental health aspect of it. And and once you're not diagnosed, you don't know what's going on because no one wants to have this battle in their mind that they're fighting. And a lot of times, a lot of us have the battle in our minds, these wars in our mind that we're fighting, and that's holding us back. But it's okay to not be okay. Mental health is real. In accordance with Mental Health Month of May. May is Mental Health Month. And
I didn't know that.
Yes. And it's important to understand that take care of your mental health. Seek help.
And don't let that be an excuse also because there's a way around like, I mean, I'm not saying that it's hard, but there's a way. So don't use your mental and all of that as an excuse for you doing what you need to do. Because like I said, there's a way. You just got to you got to find ways.
And again, and it's okay to not be okay. What do you guys think?
About the podcast as a whole.
Yeah.
Today it was a good. No, I like the vibe with the podcast today. We was just talking about a really important topic that I knew that was important for me because it was a hard time for me to get that test done. Took me a little bit, but you just got to stay confident and believe in yourself and just take that risk. So you just got to get it done.
So imagine how many people are out there who this is going to help. Because there are a lot of people out there who just get to the finish line and just have that anxiety, just like that senioritis. Like, man, I got to take this test. Man, I'm leaving this comfortable place. And team up, partner up with an instructor, one that you're close with. Talk to them. Ask them for help. Find an accountability partner when you go into school too.
Yeah.
Someone that's going to keep you on track. Because if this is your passion, and this is something that you love, you may need an accountability partner to help push you through because you got to get support from your family and friends. Getting support from your family, your household, your girl, your wife, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, a cousin, that's important. A friend. Get an accountability partner. Get a mentor. Tell them your why. Tell them the reason why you're going through this and why you want to finish, why you want to complete and accomplish this. Because they'll be able to give you some words of encouragement and put you in the right direction. What do you think, Ammi?
That's a good podcast. I appreciate your honesty.
For sure.
I think some people wouldn't come up here and want to share those things,
Oh.
or even pull up to the building. You know what I'm saying? But you came up here and you shared with your honesty with people. And there's someone listening that's probably going through the same thing. Even Jordan went through the same thing.
I mean, I would assume a lot of people are going through that same thing.
I mean, I'd say probably like at least 30-40% of people, that come right out of school and are just afraid to take the license.
Because remember, a lot of barbers are introverted.
I think so, for sure.
Very much. And it's crazy because barbering taught me how to actually be more of a sociable person. I'm very social. I can speak to anybody. I can speak to the president. I would be comfortable with it, but I don't like to. I like to be more to myself.
Right.
But barber brought that other side out of me, which also helps with more money.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Connecting with people, communicating. Communication is one of the biggest skills that will ever be out there.
I'm from Atlanta, so I really have an accent, but it kind of taught me how to change my accent to where people can really understand me. Yeah. So now I talk more fluently.
And probably just slowing it down.
Exactly. Just stuff like that. Yep. Barbering taught me that. Barbering taught me a lot, man. I love barbering.
I mean, it's a conversational piece. I mean, when you're around a barber, you can talk for days.
Sports.
Anything.
Everything.
What's so funny, Jordan? What came in your mind instantly?
It's because when I used to have a really bad habit of talking really fast because I was nervous.
Right.
When I talk.
Most of us.
Huh?
Most of us.
Mine was bad though. I felt like I was rapping every time I talked. I was out there spitting. They're like, "Dang man, you need to slow down." I'm like, "If I don't understand what you're saying, and it makes me aggravated."
Nobody want their client to be like, "What'd you say?"
Oh my gosh.
What?
I don't just like nothing, bro. I don't even want to talk no more.
Did cutting hair teach you how to slow it down a little bit?
Yeah, doing the podcast and cutting hair. Right. Yeah. That's what helped me out a lot for sure.
So what you think of the podcast today, Chris? What you like about it?
I really enjoyed it. I just like, being able to say my piece, like just speak and experience and stuff like that. I really enjoy it. I appreciate y'all letting me come on something like this.
No, that's good, man. I think you should come on some more. You know what I mean? Hit Jordan up. And I mean, I know it's the first time meeting Ammi.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really big barber industry out there, a community. And it's good when we meet up for the first time and connect because, hey, man, this is what we have. This
fraternity. Like we all one. And we didn't even know it.
This fraternity is great.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's your date? Because people don't want to know
my date updates. Taking the test.
The people out there will want to know some updates. So
let's see.
What are you going to do? So somebody call and send a message. Hey, has Chris taken this test yet? Because that's going to motivate someone.
Well, I've been talking to you more. So how about that? I just I scheduled this because I got the money right now to schedule it.
Right.
So I'll schedule this test and then maybe next time I pass it, I can come on this podcast and talk about how I feel about it.
Maybe, you should.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about how I feel because I know I'm going to feel like I know it's gonna be so much weight off my shoulders when I pass this test, when I finally get my license. So I would love to come back on here and talk to y'all about that.
Yeah, I mean, hit Jordan, hit me up. I mean, link up with Ammi. We'll get it done. I mean, it's a sense of exhilaration, just a sense of just like
accomplishment, relief, just all of that. So I know I can't wait to feel it. I dream about it. I dream about taking my test. I really do. I'm like, when you go take this
Make it a reality.
Yeah, for sure. No excuses. So I'm gonna do that. That's what we're gonna do.
That's key. So after the show, we always have like an after show where we sit and just go live on the podcast and just chop it up, just talk about the podcast and just give our fans just a rare view of what we talked about.
Real life. I mean, it's all real life. None of it's scripted, by the way.
Yep. Yeah, it's none of it's scripted. But again,
best way to go.
It's energy.
Yes. Your lasting words, you guys. What's your lasting words?
My original OG lasting words: live life, have fun, go be great, don't be scared to fail. Set yourself some goals, get them done. I mean, I'll be saying that, but I got some things I gotta do too. So it's hard sometimes, but you just gotta keep on trying.
What you think, Am?
Why run a race if you're just gonna stop for a finish line? Run through the tape.
So you're an athlete. You're a football player. Run through the line.
No, he ain't an athlete. I'm an athlete.
Oh, y'all be gonna throw jabs at this. I want to see the pads on one day.
I'm telling you, man.
Is there a camera on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a camera on there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was just wondering.
What's your lasting words, Chris?
My lasting words, okay. To feel good, you gotta look good.
Okay.
So y'all don't mind. I got this shoe page. You know, if anybody wants some brand new Jordans, I know you said you came here with some Pumas. You know, you need some Jordans, some nice kicks. Just follow me on Instagram at NORTH. That's North to South 2. It's NORTH. The number 2 South SOUTH _ KIX. For some new drip, I got all type of stuff on here.
Hey, support that man.
Anybody get his haircut after this?
Huh?
You watch anime?
I love anime.
Oh, well, we gotta talk.
How you know that?
It's on your page. You got the shower.
I think the only person that don't watch anime is Craig in here.
Crazy because anime teaches so. We can
life lessons, bro.
Yeah, anime
life lessons, man. Crazy.
One Piece got me wanting to run through a wall right now. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, spread love. Again, spread love. The Crown Cutz way is one way. Matter of fact, spread love. The Crown Cutz way is the only way. Hey, man, check us out. Hey, tell a friend. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the page. Share it. Let someone know about it. Keep coming with these questions. We love our fans. We just love continuously getting that love and support from you guys out there. We got my man from Indianapolis coming soon. He cuts some of the Colts. Indianapolis Colts do the haircuts. So we're gonna get him on the podcast soon. He can't wait to get on. My guy B Low, hey, looking forward to putting you on this thing and just making it do what it do. Again, Barber College Success. Peace.